And we're live, and now I'm going to start our intro.
Cool. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is an interesting podcast. Brian's like fucking scanners.
It's flipping distracting. You got this? Yep. Here we go. I think it's about that time. It's
just in time for that 8:30 res at Dorsey.
And the rhyme of the Scream Stream. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Scream Stream. And this is a very special one because we're dedicating this to our good friend Derek Mayo, who's having a pretty rough run.
It's Mayo.
Mayo. Did I say Mayo again?
Hey, you.
I always screw that up.
I didn't think it was that hard.
I freaking love
Four
Derek.
letters, man.
Yeah, Derek's awesome. And I wanted to just make a fun-ass Scream Stream for him. We're going to talk about some of his favorite movies. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff. The kill list is on the top right there next to Derek's sexy mug. And we're going to talk about Final Girls. He asked me if we could do an episode on Final Girls. And I said, hell yeah, we're going to do Final, because I love talking Final Girls. First off, my partners in crime, CP, Brian, and Cody. Brian, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, this one just goes out to Derek. What can we say? Just let's talk some shit.
CP, go ahead, bud.
Hi.
I love CP. Cody in the house with a new haircut, a fresh cut. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing? A little exhausted from work. Other than that, no complaints.
Cool. All right. Well, without further ado, I guess let's get on.
We're in the boxes.
Wait. Brian, do you want to tell us how Get Out is the best screenplay film of...
No.
Quick interjection.
Sorry.
I have to be referred to as Cody in this one, and Cody has to be referred to as Brian because Lee has put us in the wrong boxes.
Did I?
Oh.
I sure did. Yeah, you get to be Cody tonight. Sweet.
Well,
pretty awesome, man.
Enjoy all that extra attention, Brian.
Yeah, Lindsay said Cody looks
this
different.
This shit is thoroughly good.
Yeah. I'm not changing it now, guys. It's too late. Real quick, Ravenwind, Blurry Face, Hoary Miser, Monty G, Mother Mayhem, Michael Myers, Mask, A Voyage of Illusion, Brand Jord. A lot of Low Carb Monster. What's up, Troy? He just had a birthday yesterday, too. Happy birthday, good buddy.
Troy's low carb? Oh.
Yeah, Troy is low carb. He's
I didn't
awesome.
know
that. And Jacoby Harris, we're going to be talking about Strangers too. We got some differing opinions in here on that one. I'm going to stand my ground. I don't know about these guys, but it's going to be fun. First off, let's start off with Derek's top 5, okay? And I think his number 5 was Friday. Like he said the first 5 Friday the 13th. Am I right on that, guys?
Which is a weird... I mean, if you're going to include a bunch of movies, why end at 5? Because we all know 6 is better than...
I'm glad he mentioned 5 because he actually got a special phone call from none other than Deborah Voorhees, who is arguably the sexiest Friday girl. And she called and had a nice conversation with Derek, and he was just on cloud 9. So I'm glad he put 5 in there because that's an interesting one to talk about too. Like it might not be my favorite, but there's some really interesting stuff to talk about on it.
Like they weren't his number 5 though, were they?
I think that
I
was.
thought it was 1 through.
Yeah,
5.
yeah, that was his number. I don't know. I think
No,
his
he's
number
like,
one.
it's like the first 5 Fridays were his number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got the
Yeah.
list in front of you, don't you?
That's quite a session. If you do that, that's like what, 13 hours, 12 hours?
Yeah. We're not gonna. We'll just skim right over.
I meant
those.
if you watched all 5. I'm not saying what you. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think the first 5 add up to about 4 hours, actually.
Yes.
I should know.
Yep. Well, I guess that's the first thing we can talk about. Friday, real quick, just kind of skim over. The first one is, I think, great. It's funny because most people don't say the first one's their favorite, just because Jason.
No.
Why do you think that, CP? That most people don't choose the first one as their favorite?
Because it's not the guy in the hockey mask.
That's a good
it's not.
answer. I guess I could
And
go
it's
with
not.
that. Hold on. I'm opening my monster. Okay.
Plus this whole social thing of having a woman be the killer, that doesn't sit well.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's more like a whodunit too. It's a better premise than anything we've seen.
Samuel Pagan just donated $1.99. Thank you, good sir. That was very nice. We appreciate that. Continuing the Friday talk. Now, I would say most people say 2 and 4 are their favorites. Cody,
Or you add to it.
which one of those two do you like the most? Because I know you're in the middle
4.
of your Friday reviews right now. Do you want to divulge that information this early in the game?
Out of the first, or if you're just asking between 2 and 4, I prefer 4.
I prefer 6.
I haven't reviewed 6, so I can't quite get there yet. But yeah, 4 to me kind of seems like whenever they took the Friday the 13th template and everything was kind of firing on all cylinders to go out with a bang. Because the first 4 movies, with the exception of how long 3 drags for like the first half, they're kind of the same, wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
But to me, 4's got one of the most brutal Jasons. He's kind of kept in the shadows and shot very darkly too, so he's kind of more menacing and more like it's a little bit more horrific. The kills, I mean, Tom Savini came back to whoop some ass on that movie. The characters to me, like the victims and the final girls and everything like that, and the final child, all of them are much more entertaining to watch, in my opinion, than the characters in the first 3 movies. So I give the definite edge to 4.
Derek in the chat, he's clarifying 1 through 5 are his favorites. Dressed to Kill is his favorite movie in the world.
Oh, good.
There we go.
Awesome to see you in the chat, Derek.
Hey,
we
Derek.
love you. Derek
Hello,
is
Derek.
awesome.
Hey, Derek.
And yeah, I want to talk about 5 especially, just because of how different it is.
I like 5.
One thing, yeah, I like 5. You know that 5, I think, has the most kills out of the whole franchise. Am I right on that?
Someone tried to correct me on that. They said that the 8th one, the Manhattan, has the most kills. Now I haven't checked that, but I thought 5 had the most.
Yeah, I think 5 has the most. I mean, I think I think they said they wanted a fresh pair of breasts and a fresh kill every 15 minutes.
It's the most debaucherous of all of them. I mean, if you add the tits with it, it's
Yeah. I mean, you got
it's the most Cinemaxy of all.
You got a director in there with a porn history, so that could spice up your soup. Right?
Yeah, the thing that I said about 5 that kind of sucks, that like it has the most kills, but the MPAA just fucking took that thing and butchered it, because there's so many of the kills I noticed whenever I was watching to review it, like there's cutaways, or like you got the one where the guy just gets his throat cut, and to show that he doesn't actually show the knife cut in his throat, they zoom in on his face for a second, and they do all these little tricks to make it like the most watered down as far as the gore. But then you get the Deborah Voorhees and her boyfriend killed that's pretty gory, so it was just weird how they chose that some was too gory and some wasn't.
I think the Deborah Voorhees scene, the love scene, and the shears, that is probably one of the most talked about or most popular scenes out of the franchise. Like, I constantly see that scene pulled up for quite a few reasons, a couple of obvious ones.
Well, yeah, a pair of obvious ones. The one we don't talk about is because it was cut. The girl with the black tips on her hair, there was a scene where she was supposed to get an axe right in the an axe wound, to take the phrase literally, but that was cut. So if that was in left in, I think we'd be talking about that a bit more.
Now,
Oh yeah.
one that, and I'm gonna jump over to 7 real quick, just because there's something I want to mention about 7.
We're skipping 6 for some reason
We're
again, but
skipping 6.
go ahead.
Screw it. We've talked about 6 ad nauseum enough. I'm done with it. Hey, look, the you guys are sliding all over the screen. Isn't that crazy?
Are we?
Yeah, but the one thing about number 7, and I didn't notice this when I first saw that. Matter of fact, this is the first one I saw in the theater. But when I watched it, like, you know, in the 2000s, I noticed that, like, every kill was cut right before the money shot. Like, I think 7 suffers, like, the worst out of all of them, as far as, like, there's really, like, very little blood in the movie, to be honest. Except for at the end when you got the Tina Jason showdown. Yeah. Brian, do you like 7?
I barely like Friday the 13th, but it's okay, actually. I mean, I'm one of those people who kind of likes the franchise when it starts to veer away from being your kind of... I mean, they develop a formula, don't they? You know, what from 2 and 3, particularly from 3 onwards, that they have the formula, they know what it is.
Yeah.
And I think 4... I think 4 is the best iteration of that formula when it is done in a serious light, and I think that 6 is the best film of that formula when it is just when it's done slightly tongue-in-cheek, but not disrespectfully. I don't think it disrespects what the fans love about the franchise, but it knows what it is and it has fun with it. So yeah, if you want to go dark and serious and keep that tone that was set up in the first 3, I think 4 is your winner. If you don't mind it being a little bit, you know, off the wall, number 6, and that would be my choice. But
I think a big reason 4 is so great is the director. I think the director of 4 is like one of the best directors out of the whole thing.
Joseph Zito.
Yeah, Joseph Zito. He also did. Didn't he do The Prowler?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and
He did 3 too, didn't he?
No, he just did
Steve
4.
Miner.
Steve Miner did 3.
That's right. He did 2 and 3. Okay, I was
Steve Miner is not my favorite director. Like, the guy just hasn't done anything that's really like excited me. You know what I mean?
What's that movie that was just completely racist? What am I thinking of?
H2O.
No.
Get Out.
No.
Is that right? Did Steve Miner direct that?
Steve Miner was supposed to direct 4, but he wanted to branch off, and then he did that C. Thomas Howell in blackface movie.
Oh yeah, Soul Man.
Oh,
Soul Man, that's it. Oh.
That pissed a couple of people off.
A couple. I think it was ranked 4th most racist movie of all time.
Yeah.
I think Steve Miner's best film is Lake Placid, but
Nah.
Oh, I would
Friday Part
agree.
2 is his best film to me. Like H2O. I think a big reason I don't like H2O is because of Steve Miner.
Well, Joseph Zito did one of those canon films too with Chuck Norris. Was it the one that took place on Christmas?
Oh,
Where he's-
yeah. Was it America? I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
Invasion USA.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
it. Yeah, Joseph Zito directed that too.
Yeah.
Yummy.
So Joseph Zito, he's got a nice resume. Mm-hmm. Nice resume.
For B movies, yeah.
Yeah. Let's jump over to Derek's number 1. I just want to cut to the chase. I saw Dressed to Kill. Did I watch it last night? I watched it last night, and I got my review up this morning. I was fast-tracking that one. And Derek, thank you so much. Oh, I did not expect that movie to be that good. You know, and I'm a De Palma fan, but De Palma has had some misses. But that one was... It's not my favorite, but it's definitely like probably maybe top 3 De Palma films. As far as like Nancy Allen was mesmerizing in it. She was great. But really, I think the big thing is it's such a send off to like Hitchcock, and it had an Italian horror film feel to it. Michael Caine was great. Michael Caine. I can't say. When I say Michael Caine, I go Michael Caine. But he was great.
And that happened.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, you said you just recently watched it, didn't you?
yeah, I watched it today. I liked it. I liked it quite a lot. There's a few bits in it that drag for me personally, but like of the 15 De Palma films that I've seen, I would put it at number 7. So it's smack bang in the middle, really.
Yeah.
And you know, you mentioned he's done a few misses. Out of those 15, there's really only 2, maybe 3 that I would call genuine misses, but like 12 upwards, I'd say are all good films.
Yeah, he's got a great track record. I think his the last, I don't know, his last like decade of film hasn't been the best. You know, he's kind of like in Carpenter's territory. But
I think a lot of that is down to funding. Like, you know, these filmmakers, they have to find funding from places, and in an age where we've got the PG-13 or the 12A in the UK, it's killed filmmakers like this because, you know, trying to, and I think that's maybe starting to come back a bit. You know, people have shouted for long enough that I think maybe studios are starting to listen, but for the longest time, you know, last 10, 15 years, we've had these, like Rings, for example, proper, that should be a scary film. That should be a hard kind of rated film, but it's so watered down, so diluted, and that's the way horror for much of it has gone. Yeah. So filmmakers like Brian De Palma and the like, you know, where do they get the money from? Where do they get the funding? Because if they want to take their ideas and put them out there, no one's going to fund them because you can't make money off, or at least some studio types think you can't make money off something that you can't sell to kids.
Yeah, I mean, and we're living in a day and age where like Steven Spielberg's not selling tickets like he used to, you know? Because now it's the event movie that makes the money. It's the comic book movie. So, Cody, are you a fan of Brian De Palma? Do you like any of his movies?
I haven't seen most of them, but the ones that I have seen, I pretty much all love, with the exception of Black Dahlia. I saw that one. I remember that one being very good. Yeah. But I love Scarface, obviously. My favorite is The Untouchables. Love The Untouchables. Carlito's Way is awesome. Yes. I've been looking forward to checking out Dressed to Kill because all I've ever seen is the elevator famous scene, which is pretty wicked. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. It should be here. It should be here tomorrow. The Blu-ray that I ordered. Trying to think of what other movies Brian De Palma did. The original Carrie is a classic, obviously. I'm probably missing a couple that I've seen, but those are kind of the big ones. But yeah, the Untouchables. I'm a mob movie whore, so the Untouchables and Scarface is just awesome.
I've got my 15 here. If you want me to reel them off in order of preference.
Please do, Brian. Please, we're dying to hear.
Pace yourself.
So, starting from the bottom, working my way to the top. Femme Fatale, The Black Dahlia, Mission to Mars, Snake Eyes, The Fury, Redacted, Raising Cain, Casualties.
I've seen that one too, Raising Cain.
Casualties of War, Dressed to Kill.
Oh, Casualties of War is
Casualties
awesome.
of War is great.
The Untouchables, and then my top 5 would be Carrie at number 5, Mission Impossible at number 4. Really love that franchise. So,
awesome.
Number 3 would be Blowout. Awesome film.
Take a second there, Brian.
Number 2 would be Carlito's Way.
No, Joseph Lionel in the chat just dropped $24.99.
Wow.
I just saw that, and I'm sorry, Joseph, that it took me this long to see Dressed to Kill. And I'm mad at myself after seeing that elevator scene because that's like my number 1 elevator horror scene now. There's a lot of good elevator horror scenes. Halloween 2 is one of them, but that scene is like iconic. What's that?
I said until next week, then you see something else, and that'll be your favorite thing ever.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I work.
Superlatives and hyperbole. That's Lee.
My whole life's just an uphill climb.
He was trapped in a fucking elevator. Island.
I can't wait to talk about my Stardust reaction on Strangers 2.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Did you say your number 1, Brian? What was your number 1?
Sorry.
Number 1, Scarface. Just one of the best gangster films ever made, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Derek brought up Blowout too, which I haven't seen either Dressed to Kill or Blowout, and that's the kind of the in between Carrie and Scarface that I have not seen that I'm really trying to jump on. But apparently Blowout's really good. Really, really good.
That's what I hear. I haven't seen Blowout either, but I know
Right,
I know
right.
Travolta's in it. So
Oh, the
What's her
end-
face from Dressed to Kill's in it too?
Yeah,
Nancy Allen?
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right.
Yep. Skyrocket to the top of the list.
Top of the list. It's my favorite De Palma film. Lindsay said, I am the reason CP drinks. Lindsay, I'm the reason a lot of people drink, I'm sure.
Thank God
Yeah,
the
the ending
director
of Blowout's really good as well. I'm like, I won't ruin it, but just from a visual standpoint, the ending of Blowout, it just goes really operatic. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what De Palma's kind of known for. These just like unnaturally shot kind of movies where he just goes full tilt operatic. You do feel like you're watching some kind of opera when you're watching him, but Blowout is definitely good for that, I think.
Well, one that he also did, which I didn't even realize, was Snake Eyes with the Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. And Snake Eyes opened up the same weekend as Halloween H2O. That's the only thing I remember about Snake Eyes.
You can't go through one of these without bringing up the H word.
I know, right? You cannot make a Scream stream without talking about Halloween.
Take a shot every time Lee mentions Halloween.
Shot a monster.
Have 911 on speed dial.
Okay, let's move on to another one that's on his top 5. One that I haven't seen in ages is Adventures in Babysitting.
Ooh.
With Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Now, one little interesting bit of trivia that I know, and I didn't cheat, I actually knew this, was that the Thor is in Adventures in Babysitting. Like,
oh, you don't know who it is though.
well, it was supposed to be this guy who he was a musician, and his name was Thor. I can't remember his last name, but he was one of the. I'm trying to think to compare him to another. I guess he's kind of like Kiss, except it's a one-man band, and he looks like Thor. And he had the gig. He was going to be in Adventures in Babysitting, and like right at the last minute, like they do in Hollywood all the time, they were like, he can't act, and so they gave it to Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio, yeah.
So yeah, and I mean Vincent D'Onofrio does not look like Thor. Cody Archer in the house dropping $20. Thanks, Cody.
Damn.
That was really nice. Man, it's always good to see Cody too, because Cody I think Cody started I'll post a video question on Killer Flicks, and now everybody's copying Cody, including me.
I wanna get out in front of when I finally do it. It's a joke when I finally do it, just in case people take it seriously. I have a
one
plan.
of those yet, have you?
CP,
I haven't.
you laughed.
Yeah.
But by that, he's going to go on there and ask who's best out of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Let's
Maybe.
take a poll. Who do you
Maybe
like
not.
better? Michael Myers.
Guys,
Michael
I got a
Myers,
question about
Zoe
Dr.
Chris.
Loomis.
Yeah, Halloween 1 Michael Myers, Halloween 4 Michael Myers.
He
Or
has some good
H2O.
questions, though. It's always something like from a different angle.
Cody has good questions, yes, but man, if I have to see Freddy, Jason, or Michael one more time, and then the votes just always 70% Halloween.
Yeah, I know. I was like, the last one I commented, I was like, oh, this shit again. Spoiler alert, Halloween wins. It was like 3 minutes in.
Well, for some reason, Freddy won one time. Just a sheer.
The most iconic.
Yeah.
Most iconic 80s. Yeah, that surprised the shit out of me. I was like, oh my God. I think I cheated and like clicked 20 times.
Yeah. Erica in the chat, she said she loves Adventures in Babysitting. So I'm glad we see Derek.
I actually saw it for the first time like a couple of months ago. It was on Netflix and I had never seen it before. And I watched it. It was pretty. It was always like that or Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead was kind of like the same somewhat kind of feeling. But I remember, what was it? That movie that came out with Jonah Hill, The Sitter. Everybody bitched because they said it was like a rated R remake of Adventures in Babysitting. So I'd always been curious to watch it.
I liked
it
The Sitter.
was fun. I liked it.
Can I tell you a funny little story about The Sitter?
Can you?
I can.
Gotta be
I
funnier than
saw
the
The
film.
Sitter in the theater one night, and then the very next day I was supposed to go to, or I did go to Afghanistan. And so the very next day I'm in the airport. I believe I was in Atlanta, and I was getting ready to fly out, and I'm over at the little store. I'm getting my drink or whatever I need, And who's standing right there in front of the magazines? Jonah Hill. And
No
when you
shit.
see Jonah Hill, you know that's Jonah Hill because nobody looks like Jonah Hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Jonah Hill walks over. He's about to pay, and I'm literally standing right next to him, and I'm about to pay. And I'm like, do I want to be that guy, or do I just want to be like, hey, how's it going? So all
He
I
said,
said
"Oh,
to
oh, wow! I gave you 5 stars on the movie I saw last night."
actually, what I said to him was, big fan. I just watched
Of
The
course.
Sitter last night. Really enjoyed it. And he said, thanks, man. And that was it. that's my
can
Jonah
totally
Hill
believe
story. But I always regret. I'm like, God, I wish I would have got a picture with him or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah, or added him.
yeah, yeah, that would have been cool
Anybody
too.
want to
Maybe
hear
we
my
can get him in
Helen
Killer
Bonham
Flicks.
Please, Brian, share your Helena Bonham Carter story.
Well, I was in the Trafford Centre. Helena Bonham Carter was sat there as part of this film crew. I saw her, and I carried on walking, and that was that.
The
Sam,
only celebrity that I've ever somewhat come into contact with, what the fuck is her name? Vivica A. Fox. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
Kill Bill. Yeah.
Good for you.
I was working at a hotel when I was in high school, and for whatever reason, she was staying at my hotel. And I remember I saw the name Vivica A. Fox on the guest list. I was like, I wonder if that's the same. That'd be crazy if that was the same one. And right when I said that, she walked out in front of the front desk to go outside, smiled at me, and left. That's my
That's
story.
insane.
I was like, holy shit. I'm
Lee,
sorry.
chat. Lee, chat.
Santino Baccaro, a good friend of
Holy
mine.
fuck, man.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate that. He's a supporter of my channel, and I appreciate that. Very nice. I did not expect to get donations in this thing. I just wanted to make it for Derek, but I really appreciate the support you guys give. It's awesome.
Like the price is right in this bitch.
Yep. And it's fun that we're talking about celebrities because I actually ate lunch with Twisted Sister. The whole band.
D. Snyder.
D. Snyder, yeah. And JJ French is the really chatty, loquacious one. Whereas D. Snyder was, I think D. Snyder was just tired, but he was kind of quiet. But at the end of that night, they performed. I was in Korea at the time, and we volunteered. I worked in the carpenter shop, and we built the drum riser for A.G. Aparo, who died a couple years ago, actually. But we got up on stage with the band and saying we're not going to take it into the mic.
That's cool.
That was a fucking awesome moment.
Well, thank God you sang it into the mic and not the guitar, huh?
I sang it into the guitar too.
We sang it into the mic, the instrument that is used for voice.
Yeah. I sang it into the air.
No, the mic? That's crazy.
There he is.
Yeah, I never laugh. I'm sorry.
I know. Okay, let's jump over to Final Girls because Final Girls are just fun to talk about. I think the way I'm going to start this is, Brian, what makes a good Final Girl? What do you look for in a Final Girl?
For me personally, it's someone who is very independent, doesn't just trip over things and scream and run, but actually does a bit of fighting back, does a bit of makes the killer by the end wish they'd kind of not messed with him, I guess. That's my favorite kind of Final Girl.
CP. I don't like Brian's answer. Go ahead, CP.
C cup or larger?
What'd you say? D cup?
A C cup or larger?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. C cup.
And Cody.
Echoing a lot of what Brian said, really. I like a Final Girl that has an actual story arc. Like she has some kind of character growth. She has something that she's kind of overcoming overcoming the dude in the mask, and starts to fight back. Like Brian said, I don't like movies where your Final Girl is just, oh, she's just happened to be.
You were breaking
more
up
with
there for
feeling?
a sec, Cody. Once more with feeling.
Yeah, didn't hear that last couple of sentences.
Oh, okay. Wow.
No, that's okay.
Echoing a lot of what Brian said. I like a final girl that has a story arc and she has some kind of a character growth throughout the movie, and maybe even has something that she's overcoming in the storyline as well as overcoming the guy in the mask. She starts to fight back towards the end, and she's actually someone you root for and have fun watching take on this killer, not a character that you just want the killer to decapitate as soon as possible. And I don't really care for final girls that end up being the final girl just because she just happened to be the last one alive.
Yeah.
So.
For me, I think I got to have some kind of emotional connection with that person.
Yeah.
But by the time we're at the end of it, I feel like I'm so happy that person made it out.
Yeah.
Or
like I said, C-cup.
Yeah, and if they don't make it out, if they die, then it just freaking bums me out. And I think I got a few examples right in my head right now, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the latest example, and that is Bailey Madison from
The
Strangers. Dude, I am not lying. Bailey Madison in The Strangers 2 was one of the best final girls I've seen.
She's not watching
the last decade. And I'm dropping the mic and I'm running out of the room.
No.
You didn't think she was a great final girl?
No. The brother was a better final girl than she was.
Dude, all right, I'm not going to go spoiler crazy, okay? But I'm just saying, at the end, when she has the shotgun and she starts taking care of business, because she had some moments where by the way, guys, she's like 12 fucking years old or whatever, okay? People of her age don't make the best decisions, especially when they got 3 killers trying to kill them.
Is she supposed to be 12 in the movie?
No, I think she's probably 16.
15 or 16 or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but, she's very young. And here's we're going to get into stupid characters here in a minute, but I think this movie, I think we can all agree the number one thing that people did not like about this movie was the character choices. And as far as the parents go, I can agree with some of that. As far as the kids go, I don't think kids are fully developed, and when they're in a situation as chaotic as that, where they got not 1 but 3 killers coming after them, and you got, granted, there's 10 different choices you can make in a given situation.
We'll have our moment, CP. We'll have our moment.
I personally, when I was watching this movie, I was that guy. I was saying, okay, I'm waiting for them to really make a really stupid decision, and then I'm going to get pissed off, because I don't like stupid decisions either. That did not happen for me. I thought that there were better decisions that they could have made, but I was completely invested. I wanted them to make it through the end, and there was quite a few moments where I was cheering. Like the pool scene. Oh my god.
Careful.
No spoilers, I'm not seeing it.
No spoilers though, that's all I'm saying. Okay? And if anybody agrees with me in the chat, give me a high five, okay? That's all I'm asking. All right. CP.
Yeah, we're on your channel. Yo.
CP, you have the floor, buddy. Go ahead.
So final girl, you talked about development. Her character is a C*NT for the first half of the movie, and then we just flip on a dime, and then suddenly she's this damsel in distress where there's no sort of transition from her being this hard ass that's being taken to, I think they're taking her to boarding school. I think that's how the movie opens. And then suddenly, shit goes upside down, and then she's dependent on her family members, which there isn't enough of a segue for that as far as I'm concerned. It's just this flip, and she badmouths the mom, and even the brother in the car ride. They're kind of snarky to each other.
As a father to a daughter that has been that age before, I think maybe that's why I cut her some slack on that, because and I think some of the women in the chat can agree with me on this. Sometimes women have their bad days, especially when they're 16 years old. And I hope I didn't offend anybody.
You don't say.
This character was having a really bad day. She did not want to move. That's a big thing. She was forced into and I've been in that situation before. Being in a military family, moving every 3 years. I've dealt with this. I've had really pissed off children.
But she's not a military family. She's a hard-edged kid who smokes and
Well,
all this other shit.
But you get what I'm saying. She's
so sort of, but you're doing extra work for these characters that isn't being shown to us.
Hey, I was reacting to these characters. I wasn't working to like them. I was on board.
Well, you're filling in spaces here that, because I had a military family and blah, 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 blah. I can understand. Get the fuck out of here.
You get the fuck out of here. Cody, all right, Cody, make some sense of this. Go ahead.
I liked Bailey Madison as like the performer. In the group, you know what I mean? I thought that she did really good at like acting scared and hyperventilating, doing all the stuff that actors and actresses in horror movies don't get enough credit for doing. Because you think about take after take after take after take of act scared as shit for hours. You know what I mean? She was convincing. I wasn't like blown away to the point where I'm like, oh my god, like she needs to be in the sequel, or she made this movie for me, or anything like that, or she just shot up into my top 5. It never really went there for me.
Move over Jamie Lee.
Yeah, exactly. But and
that's another story.
I don't remember well enough to say whether or not she made a lot of the dumb decisions, but one of the things that aggravated the piss out of me with this movie, which is what ruins the first movie for me, is all the really stupid character decisions. And we're gonna get into that, so I'm not gonna elaborate, but. Yeah, I liked her. She if you were asking me like top 10 final girls or top 20, I don't even think I would remember her name, to be honest with you. So I mean, but I liked her.
Well, I will say, and Derek, I'm not going to spoil any of this, but I will say, just from looking at Twitter, looking at social media after this movie came out, I think the number one thing that people that did love this movie, like myself, the reason they loved it was the reason that I loved it. They loved the characters, especially the kids, the son and the daughter. To me, they saved the movie at the end.
Oh, I dug the brother. I dug the brother a lot.
He was awesome too. He really was. And I regret not mentioning him as much in my review, because
or Twitter.
He definitely deserved mentioning, because that pool scene is probably one of the best.
He didn't have an account. I love you, Lee.
I love you. Okay, let's move on to. We're talking Final Girls.
Oh,
all right?
Yeah. You talk about bad characters. I'm just going to say one word: police.
Okay. Who?
Police.
Yeah.
Police. What do you mean?
The cop in the movie.
The Roro. Yeah. That's it.
In Strangers 2, I'm trying to remember who the cop was.
Yeah. Wasn't long.
Exactly. Not there for very long.
I just made your point.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Right. Sorry.
Okay, CP, give me one of your favorite Final Girls, like ever.
Can I say Tom Matthews? Does that count?
If you want to, go ahead.
Are we doing our top 3s one at a time, or are we just picking one?
We'll just go one at a time. I'll run down.
Yeah.
I'll run down you guys, and that didn't sound. Right. I'll run down.
I'll say that the daughter from Final Girls, the comedy from 2015.
Ooh, good answer.
Well, she's in that
She's
TV
in the,
show.
American Horror Story.
Yes.
It's
Thaisa
Farmiga.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here for you.
She has a nice arc.
Yep.
In a comedy, which is kind of surprising. I know we're going to hear about Jamie Lee in a second, so I figured I'll sidestep. But yeah, that movie and Club Dread, I feel like, don't get enough credit for being both a really good horror and a really good comedy.
Yeah.
Because movies like Shaun of the Dead exist, but Club Dread and Final Girls, I think, are really 4-star worthy comedy horror, whatever you want to say.
I would agree with Final Girls. I've never seen Club Dread.
Oh, it's so funny. What's sad is everything that they made fun of and did ironically is starting to happen now. So it's kind of it may not have the same weight as it did 10 years ago, but yeah.
Brian, what's your pick?
Are we just doing one or all?
Just do one. Just give me one.
Just do one. Well, all right. I'm pretty sure Cody might go for this one as well at some point, but so I'll get there first. I think my favorite has to be Erin from You're Next, because
good. No, I wasn't going to go there.
All right.
Have her. You can have her.
I agree, but that wasn't in my top 3.
Yeah, I just think she perfectly embodies everything that I want to see in a film. But like, You're Next is a film I stayed away from for a long time because the look of it, not knowing much about it, just seeing like the posters and things like that, really reminded me of the first Strangers film, which I hated. I've always hated, sorry to say. But I wasn't a fan of the first Strangers. And then when Your Next came out and the posters looked eerily similar to it, I just thought, no, thanks, I'll pass. And then eventually, when I saw The Guest, Adam Wingard's film, and then I connected the dots, saw that he directed Your Next, and then I heard that Your Next is actually pretty funny in some of the same ways that The Guest is. So I was like, oh, all right, that wouldn't be the same film as The Strangers at all. So I went back and I watched it, and then I was blown away. I was just like, it was not the film I was expecting. It starts off that way. It starts off like The Strangers, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. And then as soon as it gets going and you realize, actually, this ain't what you expect. She's turning the tables. These guys are going to regret ever coming here tonight because she's worse than they are. And I love that. And So as a character, as a final girl, someone who just proper kicked ass, isn't someone to be messed with. Yeah, I loved it.
I equate her to like the female Rambo. That's pretty much what she was in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we rewatched Strangers last week to get caught up for part 2, and I haven't seen it since I saw Your Next, and rewatching it, I was like, oh, yeah, no, this doesn't age well, especially considering Your Next has come since then. Your Next is just a better version. It's not totally the same at all, but it's just a better.
Yeah,
it's better
done. Yeah.
I was shocked that I had the same reaction because, I've said this a million times that The Strangers is like the best home invasion movie ever. And so I threw it in and I watched it, and I found myself like getting mad at Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman throughout. I was like, why are you splitting up so much? You're the only two there. So I don't know, maybe it didn't age well, or I don't know what it was, but I have to agree with you. These characters made some really stupid decisions. So.
And the gunshot, just what?
Derek Mayo said that his favorite final girl was Gail Weathers from Scream. That's an interesting choice.
Pick. Does that count? I guess it counts, huh?
Yeah.
She lives.
Yeah. I came this close to going with her myself, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, I like Gail Weathers in the Scream films. At some points I was rooting for her more than I was for Sydney, but.
Hey, CP, your check's in the mail.
Yeah, CP, that's all you, buddy. CP mentioned the final girls. So you can just pick your Blu-ray, buddy, and it's coming to you. My thing with Scream, and I'm not saying I don't like movies that do this, but when you have a franchise movie, a lot of times more characters live than you would like. Like, I like slashers where everybody's freaking dead except like one character.
Like Freddy's dead?
Yeah. I don't like it when at the end of the movie everybody's alive except for like, a couple of people.
I have a slight disagreement with that because one of the things for me that made Scream quite special, particularly by the time you get to the sequels, is that you're already invested in so many of these characters. And like normally with sequels, they have to introduce a ton of new characters, and that they're just cannon fodder. Like other than the main, you might have the main character return from the first one. They're the only one who returns. Everything's going to revolve around them. But when you bring back 3 or 4 characters from the original film, it does. You're invested. Like one of the most shocking deaths for me in Scream 2 was when Randy got killed, because
which was a mistake too, by the way.
But he was my favorite character in the first one. Like, I was that dude at school, and it's just, I was really invested in that character, and it was quite shocking that second time. And I don't think you get that with normal sequels, because you just don't have that kind of investment. So.
You know, since
Courtney
we're talking
Cox-
about Scream, we might as well mention Scream 4 for a sec because that was Derek's number 5, I believe, on his list, which I thought was really interesting, you know, because most people, they mention the first Scream. I mean, the first Scream's my favorite Scream movie, but Scream 4 is a damn close second. Cody, what do you think about that? Are you a big Scream 4 fan?
I love Scream 4. I need to rewatch all of them, but Scream 1 has never been my favorite for a lot of reasons. Yeah, for a lot of reasons. It'd be between Scream 2 and Scream 4 would be my favorite. I'm not going to get into a huge story with it, but I told Lee this whenever we did our commentary. Whenever I was growing up, I was like the only kid on the block that ever got to watch horror movies. Everybody else had like no horror knowledge whatsoever. So when Scream came out, that's all of a sudden when it became cool to like horror. Like all of my friends, everybody my age that didn't know shit about horror was all of a sudden like thought they were horror fans. And Scream's the best movie ever, and everybody was wearing Ghostface for Halloween. So I kind of grew to dislike Scream for a long time. It sounds stupid, but put yourself in the shoes of like a, 6-7-year-old.
Yeah, I get that.
I grew appreciation for Scream as I was older. Now I love the franchise, but Scream, just because of the not like being blown away by it when it first came out, I've always liked 2 more, and when 4 came out is when I really started to like the franchise as a whole, so I loved 4 when it came out.
I loved Emma Roberts in 4. She's the big reason why I loved it so much, because I love when an actor or an actress takes a character and just like freaking runs with it, because at the end of that movie,
the whole third act was crazy.
She really just went for it, and I loved that about it. She didn't hold back. I mean, she was freaking crazy. And I by the time Scream 4 ended, I was like, yes, that is like the Scream movie I've been waiting for. That was, sometimes I put Scream 4 like dead even with the first Scream. It's so good to me. Brian, I know Brian loves Scream 4.
Just for the record, Courtney Cox, 35C cup.
My internet dropped, guys.
Damn.
Amongst other.
Is the stream still going, or we got to restart it?
Let me refresh. It said OBS reconnected, so let me refresh it and see. I think we're back. I think everybody can hear me.
We're back. We're on.
Okay.
We're on
Hey guys, sometimes my internet at my house just completely takes a shit, and that's what happened. But we're back, and we're going again. So,
Brian, go ahead.
What was the
Brian was just about to unleash hell on Scream 4.
Harry.
Oh yeah, Brian, go ahead with
Previously on Scream Stream.
So yeah, I mean, I'm probably one of those people that Cody hated as a kid because the first Scream film was the film that kind of got me into horror, and I loved it. It was the first 18 that I was able to watch at the cinema. Saw it 3 times, loved it. Just thought it was brilliant. You know, I had seen horror films before. You know, I'd seen like Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th Part 6, and all them lots. So I don't think I was quite that kind of person Cody was on about, but because I loved that first Scream film so much, and I really liked the second one. I think they dropped the ball a bit on the third one, but there is still some redeeming qualities.
No.
The fourth film, you know, I waited so long for it. Like when they announced they were doing it, I couldn't even believe they were doing it. And I couldn't even believe they've got Kevin Williamson to come back to write it. So I thought, blimey, Williamson on scripting duties, Craven on directing. This is awesome. And then when it came out and I watched it, you know, as a projectionist, I had to view the print, and I'm half an hour in, and I'm just thinking, this is so formulaic. Like it literally feels like a.
It's supposed to be though. That's kind of the point of it.
Yeah.
It feels like a pastiche of its own franchise, and it didn't. Yeah, it just felt far too formulaic for me, and I didn't care about any of these new characters.
Oh man, completely disagree.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I've borrowed it again this week off a friend. Like I borrowed Dress to Kill and Scream 4. I didn't know we were going to be talking about Scream 4 tonight, actually, but it's just bizarre that I happen to have borrowed those 2 films, 2 of Derek's top 5 films I borrowed this week. So yeah, because I've been meaning to give Scream 4 another watch, because so many people on Killer Flicks say how it's like the second best Scream film, possibly the first. I'm like, what? You must be smoking crack. So maybe I missed some.
Oh, you did, because Hayden Panettiere alone was like one of the best characters to come in the franchise, I think, in a long time. She was so good. Kevin Williamson did not do any writing on Scream 3. That's a big reason why Scream 3 failed miserably.
Well, he did actually. He mapped out a story for it, and then Erin Kruger came and did the actual screenplay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but man, yeah, yeah. I'll try and trust your judgment, but you're also the guy who said that the first Strangers film is one of the best home invasion movies of all time.
You can trust my judgment, Brian. I like it too.
Okay.
Yeah, I go 1, 2, 4, 3.
You want to know how I got these scars? Okay, we're back on Final Girls. Cody, give me a Final Girl that you don't like.
That I don't.
Yeah, if you need a second to think about it, I got one.
Well, go ahead, Lee.
No, I mean, I have two pretty obligatory answers, honestly, just because I'm a Nightmare on Elm Street whore. I don't even remember her name, and I don't care to know what her name is. Freddy's daughter, whatever the fuck her name is from Freddy's Dead. Garbage. I mean,
garbage.
The whole movie sucks. You guys have heard me say this 1,000 times, but it's her whole character arc about suddenly being shoehorned into being the lead because Freddy's didn't have a son. That's my daughter or whatever, and then you have the whole showdown with her in 3D where they do the same exact method of killing Freddy that they did in the first fucking movie. Oh, we could just pull him into the real world and we can end this. Well, you've done that shit before and it didn't end it before, so. Just the whole thing with her sucks. And the other answer, which kind of goes along with this, is the Rooney Mara version of Nancy. I mean, these aren't probably the worst of all time. I mean, Freddy's Dead probably is, but Rooney Mara to me is just like it is a broken shell of what that character is supposed to be. And it might not even be completely her fault, although I've heard she didn't want anything to do with the movie in the first place, which aggravates me. But just the way that they wrote that character into being kind of this quiet emo version of Nancy she's the version of Nancy that just happens to be the final girl. Nancy in the original is the final girl that we were talking about, as somebody who takes charge of the story and has a character growth and drama and interaction with the characters. She just ends up being at the end because her character name is Nancy. So those are my two answers.
I always defend the Nightmare remake, but I cannot argue with you as far as Rooney Mara. She looked like she just was not enjoying herself in that role at all.
No.
And Katie Cassidy should have been the final girl.
I was going to say, she's so bad that she makes Katie Cassidy be like what should have been the final girl. Yeah, and she's really not very good at anything I've seen her in.
And at least Katie Cassidy doesn't go around trashing, horror movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hello to Vicky, the Nightmare Maven. Welcome to the. I don't know if I've seen Vicky in one of my streams before, but
David King with the clickbait comment in the chat. Just ugh.
What
no,
comment?
I will not leave Lee alone. The Strangers is one of the best horror movies. Period. Nope.
I didn't say that.
You need to watch more horror movies, brother. That's all I can say.
You know what? In his defense, though, there have been a lot of people. I remember in circles they'd say The Strangers is like one of the best home invasion movies. I've heard that.
Yeah, that's because they all follow you blindly, and you've been saying The Strangers is one of the best horror movies.
Derek, good call. Jason Goes to Hell. Say hi to Mommy in Hell.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Tacky line. What were you going to say, Lee? You had one?
I'm kind of cheating here because she's not like the final girl, but I have to mention her just because of how shitty she is, and that's Tina from Halloween 5.
Yeah.
Like, she's not just like non-existent. She crosses the line. Like, you remember her. She's that bad, but she's the most annoying character in a horror movie I think I've ever seen. And from her entrance into the movie, she's doing the ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da. I wanted to throw a rock at my TV like within 10 minutes of the movie because of her. So
the worst thing about it as well is like it wouldn't be so bad if they had an annoying character that you kind of want to see get killed, but the fact that they bring the fact that they get rid of the final girl from the previous film to make way for this character. It's like...
And she's not supposed to be annoying as far as the writing goes. Like, they set her up to be a likable character, but they fail miserably.
Yeah. Blame the director of The Omen 4 for that one.
Exactly. Ugh. Yeah, that's my pick, Tina. CP, go ahead.
What am I bad here?
Yeah, give me bad.
Yeah. Brian, you go. I have to, because Derek kind of stole my thunder there with Jason Goes to Hell.
I only had two choices. One was Tina from Halloween 5, and the other one was Tina from Halloween 5.
So what's the is it Alice? Is that the final girl on the first Friday the 13th?
Yep.
Alice. That's kind of an unpopular answer that I would give.
You're in my head because I was literally skating. I was like, should I be the Friday the 13th guy that shits on the first one?
She is the embodiment of what I said I don't want a final girl to be. It's just she happens to be the last one. I mean, she has no personality. She's not really that good of an actress.
There's nothing strong about her neither.
No. I mean, Pamela Voorhees is beating her ass, and she just happens to grab the machete in the last second. So, so I'm not a fan of her at all.
Yeah, no, I was sort of thinking of it, but I'm glad you said it, so I could blame it on you if somebody.
I'll be the
dick. But yeah, I agree with everything you just said.
Cool. So CP, you didn't have a pick for a bad final girl.
Well,
stumped him. Okay, all right.
Felissa Rose.
What? Okay.
Yeah, that movie's bad, man. That movie's bad.
No, that movie's great. It's bad.
Does it count? It doesn't count because she's not really the final girl, right?
You can spoil it. I mean, it's freaking a 40-year-old movie or 30-something-year-old movie. So,
but she's
for many reasons she's not the final girl.
Yeah.
She's the final. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She's the final guy.
You want to talk about unpopular opinion?
What cup size is that?
Oh, I don't know. That's a jockey 32 waist, I think is what it is.
Yeah, that's a Dick's Sporting Goods. So
Sleepaway Camp to me is a very bad movie that just happens to have a really oh my god ending. That movie has not aged well for me.
Really?
I don't. Yeah.
I'm not a fan. Slasher.
That's a movie where you either have one of two experiences with it. It's either garbage or it's so garbage that it's awesome.
Yeah.
And if you don't pick up on the because it's awesome part, then I totally understand why you would hate it. So that's a movie that, like I said, there's no in the middle with it.
Well, I think bad movies are great when you have actors that clearly are not actors. They're almost extras. And then they go for it. Like, they don't hold back. They don't just deliver the lines and get the day's work over with. No, these actors actually like, I'm gonna really go for it. I have no formal training, and I'm gonna look like a complete idiot. That's what they did with this one, especially like the old guy who's dating like the girl that's like 16, which is really
just everything that happens in the kitchen. Just nope.
Sorry, the chat on the video is frozen. Just so you know.
Oh,
really? Not on mine. Oh, on the video. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But okay.
Best final girl, Buster Rhymes.
Yeah, like I'm trying to avoid like obviously bad movies. Like, it's hard.
Well, CP, give me another good final girl that you love, then, and I'll fix the chat real quick.
I'll go with another good one. This is an obvious one. But not for the film you'd think. I'm going to go with Laurie Strode. But not for Halloween, and not for Halloween 2. I'm going to go for H2O, because that's the time when she stopped being someone who ran and screamed to someone who said, you know what, let's face this son of a bitch and fight back. So
hell yeah. All I heard was ugh.
I agree with what you said. I do love Jamie Lee in H2O, but everything around Jamie Lee kind of makes me throw up in my mouth. So I don't like the Myers in that movie. Like, the Myers really gets on my nerves in that one. Chris Durand is the worst Michael Myers, and it's sad that you have the worst Michael Myers in what should be the best Halloween movie.
Get over it.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's awesome.
I can't let it go, damn it. I think I fixed
H2O is easily one of the top 3 Halloween films.
It's in my top 3, along with Season of the Witch.
It's in a lot of people's top 3. I'll give it that, but I can't give it a pass.
Put H2O in there.
I don't know how we can agree on something so equally and then you cock it up by sticking that in there.
Oh, yeah.
But Jamie Lee is a good. I mean, yeah, Laurie Strode is a great final girl. She's not my favorite final girl. Like I'm more of a Kirsty from Hellraiser. Like I love Kirsty.
Do we count the Final Destinations as slashers?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Because Mary Elizabeth Winstead in 3.
You can just say Mary Elizabeth Winstead in anything, and she's like an awesome.
Yeah. I didn't say that. You could say that.
What about is it in Death Proof? Is there a few of them who survive?
Oh no, I don't think she does.
Yeah, she does.
She does? No, I thought it was just Rosario Dawson and Uma's stunt double there. Oh no, wait, she's back at the house. Right.
Yeah,
right.
everybody in the second half of the movie survives.
Yeah. I mixed things up. You're right. I'm sorry. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Take my movie card away.
Yeah.
Something decadent.
So, do we still want to talk about Final Girls, or do we want to move on to stupid characters?
Let's talk a couple more Final Girls.
Okay, go ahead, Cody.
Ridley.
Oh.
Oh my God! You just dropped a freaking bomb.
Telling you, Ridley. I mean, for both movies, it's just one huge crescendo. I mean, she kind of starts off, even though she's a really good, strong character and she's got, well acted and everything like that, so it's not the negative connotation to this. The first Alien she does just kind of happen to be the last one alive.
She's a tough ass in that one.
She is. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But it's just by a turn of events that she ends up being the final girl. She's not like one that's going through this huge, story arc of, overcoming something, and then all of a sudden in the third act she has to overcome this fucking thing that's wiped out her whole crew by herself. And then you get into Aliens and the shit's just like on steroids. She's like this badass, her and Sarah Connor from Terminator 2, both James Cameron movies too, are like the gold standard for badass heroines. So she's like kind of one of the ultimate final girls. And then of course my obligatory answer is Heather Langenkamp as Nancy. So just because the whole she obviously has the focus of the story. She's a strong character throughout the whole movie. She's always fighting against her parents and trying to get everybody to understand and don't fall asleep. And then she has the showdown with Freddy and with all the Home Alone traps and everything like that, and finally defeats him by telling him that he ain't shit. So,
well, wasn't Kevin in Home Alone? Wasn't he Freddy? Isn't that the fan theory? Or something like that.
What?
Yeah, there's fan
I never
theories
heard
on
that
Home
one,
Alone.
but I want to read something like that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, one of them he's actually Freddy Krueger, and he grows up, to be, to turn into Freddy Krueger, and then he has to deal with the booby traps by Nancy. I don't know. I like
Nancy, one of the only final girls. No, Mikey Weiss. Alice dies in part 2, Friday the 13th. Jamie Lee doesn't make it. I'll let you figure out which movie it is, but she doesn't make it either. So all the original final girls, especially from the big 3, don't make it. Granted, it takes them a couple of movies, but
yeah. Somebody mentioned Linda Hamilton. Green Arrow did, but is she really a final? That's not really a final girl though. She's just more of a
I think she has for Terminator 1. You mean?
Oh yeah, you're right. She is a final girl in Terminator 1. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That's an arc right there, because she starts out like this, like shrinking violet, and then
very similar to Ridley.
Yeah, very similar.
I would say she has a lot more of an arc, a circle. She starts a little bit more. I don't want to say fragile, but she's a lot less firm than Sigourney Weaver.
You're dead, honey.
So would you class, given that we're classing Alien as a slasher, which I do agree with, do we class The Descent as a slasher then?
Oh, yeah, that was one of my picks. Sarah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Juno?
Juno?
If you count The Descent 2?
I've still not seen The Descent 2.
Don't even
It's
bother.
on Netflix.
Is it?
It's on Netflix.
You know what? It's worth watching just because it is like the Halloween 2 of the series. It picks up directly where the first one left off.
I've heard it
fails so miserably so much throughout that you just get pissed off by the end of it. But it's watchable. For one time, I think it's watchable. Just to
what was Lindsay's suggestion that you ignored, Lee?
The suggestion that Lindsay had, which is a really good suggestion, is what about a character in a horror movie that you wish was the final girl, but she did get killed, but you wish she didn't get killed. You know, like I guess characters that you like that do get.
Oh, that got killed off. Okay.
Yeah, they got killed off.
I wish that Patricia Arquette was in number 4 and stayed throughout the entire movie. Yep. Does that count as an answer?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Judges.
There's one on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it though.
There's another good one, actually. The Friday the 13th remake. What's her name?
Danielle Pennebaker.
Yes. That's actually a really kind of a shocking scene when you first see that movie that she doesn't make it.
Doesn't
and
Danielle
it happens out
Pennebaker
of
look
nowhere.
like Emma from Spooky Astronauts?
I actually wish that by the time we get to the point where she's getting killed, at any rate, I wish kind of that Sarah Michelle Gellar's character in I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of made it, because
there's a good pick. Yeah,
because she kind of had a bit of an arc there, because she was like this self-involved kind of. She was like, you know, she came across as just a bit of a bimbo, someone who cared more about her looks. But then, as the film goes on, her shell starts to kind of peel away, and you start to see that actually there's a load of insecurities there because her sister was like, you know, the more intelligent one and all that kind of stuff. And then, so just as they're starting to kind of reveal stuff about this character and make her more sympathetic, then they kill her. So yeah, so I guess that would be a choice.
What about Jamie Lloyd, Halloween 6?
Not that version of Jamie Lloyd.
No.
If it had been
Danielle Harris.
Yeah.
See, I always treat Halloween 4 as a self-contained story, and everything that came after that, I just don't really count all that much.
You don't count Halloween 6?
I count Halloween 2, Halloween 4, and then H2O, and the rest I can flush down the toilet.
Man, I love Halloween 6. That's the theatrical cut. I don't like the producer's cut. Join us, you have talent. That's a freaking stupid ass line. But I love the theatrical cut.
Halloween 6 is entertaining, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's performance in that, I don't know what he's doing ever.
It's very odd.
Look, give me a doctor.
He's always
now.
got to look like.
Yeah, I don't understand how he goes from doing that to being the way he is in Mute. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Mute, but it's not a great film, but his performance in it is pretty good. You know, he shows some ability in there. But
that was like his first movie, Halloween 6. Like
so for clues.
Paul Rudd, he was on the Howard Stern show actually a couple years ago, and I think it was the first time he had talked about Halloween 6 like at length since the movie came out, because he kind of avoided it. And then he stated on Howard Stern that for the longest time he didn't like the experience. He was ashamed, but he said now he looks back on it and he's like, hey, I was in a Halloween movie. Why am I fucking complaining? So he kind of
because he has a career now.
You know, I guess kind of
I'm Ant-Man, bitch.
But you know what? He was badass in the third act. I thought, you know, with the pipe beat down and everything, he was better than Busta Rhymes. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Doesn't take much.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ugh, Busta Rhymes. All right.
Stupid characters.
Yeah, stupid characters. Here we go. Wow, I mean, you could freaking pick almost any horror movie and find stupid characters. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Franklin is a great example. Not really stupid, but just really annoying. You know, I don't know. Brian, do you have any like stupid characters that come to mind?
Tina from Hollywood. Just. I don't know, because there's just so many of them, and because they're so stupid, I don't really take that much notice of them. I don't try and memorize them. I couldn't tell you them by name. I can certainly tell you that much, but I don't know. It's just a typical bull, isn't it? Where people do things that they just shouldn't be doing. And like Strangers is a perfect choice, because one of the reasons I hated that film so much is that at every turn, every decision they made, I was just like, what the hell are you doing?
My favorite one is when they're trying to back out of the driveway and Freedom is right there and they pull the truck in and they're like, no! And then they get out the truck and start running and it's like, what? Go around!
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's just...
K-turn.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
talk about The Strangers, because you could probably talk about stupid characters in both of those movies. I have to take Levi potty real quick. He's whining. So
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, honestly. Like in some of the classic slashers, it's kind of a trope, but it's not really an annoying trope in the classics that people make stupid decisions, and that's why movies like Scream make fun of it and they put it in the dialogue, like, "Oh, I hate horror movies because they should be running out the front door and they're running upstairs trying to hide in the closet." But some movies, it's just bad writing. There's no excuse for it. Like people, I put it on Killer Flicks, and there was kind of a debate, and it was kind of back and forth. Some people kind of agreed with me, like sometimes it's just bad writing, and I had a lot of people that just said, like, that's part of horror movies. Like horror movies are handcuffed to having bad characters, and I hate that. I hate that whole notion, and I think it cheapens the genre, honestly. And I think that, and I actually had somebody at work say this today because of stuff like that. Like, horror movies are horrible. That is a quote that I heard at work today, and it's because of shit like that. And it sucks because I want to, like, that's like somebody you want to like have a conversation with them, like, hey, you need to watch this one and this one and this one, but stuff like that is what makes the genre seem cheap and badly written and poor qualities, because you have stuff like in either of the Stranger movies, you have like in The Strangers Prey at Night, for example, and this isn't going to be a spoiler, this is just an example. There's a working vehicle right here in one scene, and they decide to pass it to go explore. And
oh yeah.
There's that. There's scenes where characters should fight back against one of these strangers and they just don't, and it's so jarring where you're watching them and you're like, what the fuck? Like, you can't even get into the movie at some spots, even though I enjoyed the second one much more, but you can't even get into the movie because it's so ridiculously badly written that it suspends your disbelief too much to enjoy it. And the Strangers is one of the most egregious examples. I rewatched it after I got back from the theater, watching the second one for the first time since it came out, and I don't remember liking it, and I didn't quite remember why. So it was one of those, like, I need to watch this. Maybe I love it, and I just don't remember why. And I couldn't get. The whole movie I was annoyed. I'm like, why are you running outside? Why are you doing this? Why are you opening the fucking door? Why are you? And it's so annoying for me as a pet peeve that it will ruin a movie for me if it's that extreme.
Putting the gun on the table is kind of.
Yeah, that too.
I was kind of like, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Mayhem says, I wonder, though, how clearly you would think if you were in the horror movie situation. And that it's a good question, but again, it comes back to what Cody said about the difference between bad writing and you know, like when you're in a house, there's only two of you, and you know there's someone outside trying to get in and kill you. Splitting up might not be the best thing, and I think that would be instinctual. Like my actual instincts would tell me, do not separate from the only other person who is on your side.
Yes.
Right? You know,
that's where I think It Follows succeeds, because it's such an abnormal situation, and you're kind of with you know just as much as the characters do, and there's it's done really well, and It Follows.
They stick together. They want to be together. They don't want to be alone. They don't want to be separated. Admittedly, you got someone on there who don't believe the story, but they want to get into someone's pants. But for the rest of them, you know, they're scared, so they're not going to split up. They're going to stick together, and that, to me, that's instinctual, and that's good writing, to pick up on those instincts and work them into the script. But when you need a character to be in a particular place because you need to put them in a certain horrific situation, so you think, well, how do I get them there? Well, I'll just split them up. That's bad writing. That's characters' instincts. You're going off what you need to happen in order to get people from A to B.
Exactly. And another example, which is a movie that I actually love, is the Texas Chainsaw remake. One of the most frustrating things in that movie for me is how many times Jessica Biel stops to fucking hide. She gets away from Leatherface for 30 seconds, and she stops and hides in the nearest trailer or hut that she finds. And you think by the third time you'd figure out all these motherfuckers are together. You know what I mean? They're all in cahoots. So stuff like that is an example, because that's another defense that I hear all the time is, well, if you were in that situation, you might make some stupid decisions too, possibly, but there's a limit. There's, you know what I mean? If I'm getting chased by Jason and I pass a working vehicle that I have the keys to, I'm not going to pass that vehicle to go hide in a fucking tree trunk. You know what I mean? It's there's some give and take there. There's examples of, okay, this is just kind of being tongue-in-cheek, or this is to get the plot going, and then there's genuinely bad writing.
Well, that's like a staple you see in horror movies anyway, constantly, is characters falling down and constantly getting back up. That's annoying. But somebody, Erica actually mentioned Shelley from Part 3, Friday Part 3, which Shelley's like, some people love Shelley. I don't like Shelley. He annoys the shit out of me. Because he whines. He whines the whole damn time.
Yeah,
I like nerds in movies.
Comic characters.
I love geeks and nerds, but
I think he's entertainingly annoying. But to me, the big messed up with him, which I said in my review, is that he doesn't get a great death. He just kind of shows up and dies with a throat. If he had gotten like fucking massacred by Jason, we would love that character for that ending. That's kind of misdirection with his character, though, right? Because he's playing pranks. Yeah. I understand what they were going for, but to me, if Jason had if he had the most brutal death in that movie, you would enjoy his story a little bit more, because you know what it was leading to.
I'm here.
Okay, are we done with stupid characters?
I think so. Jada Pinkett from Scream 2.
What's that?
Yeah.
I said Jada Pinkett from Scream 2.
Yeah.
It was sort of a joke. I think they kind of knew that, and they scripted it as such.
Mm-hmm. She's just kind of there, sorry. You know?
I didn't mean to airbag. Go ahead.
No airbag there at all. I actually agree with you.
If you don't airbag at least once during one of these, just stay in Scream Stream.
Ooh, Halloween Resurrection has a lot of stupid characters.
Mm-hmm.
Even the final girl's really Bianca Kalic is kind of annoying.
Nail on the head. What I say that was a nail on the head. I hate the delay. What's the next topic?
Okay, next topic is gonna be it's Strangers Pray at Night, but we kind of discussed it. I mean, is there anything else you guys want to? I mean, 'cause Brian hasn't even seen it yet, right?
Lee, do you have it above Annihilation?
No. Annihilation's my number one.
Okay.
Wow.
Brian had a stroke just now.
I know. It's my number 2, though. I mean,
that'd be like putting, I don't know, Ice Cream Truck above Baby Drive.
All right.
Have you watched it yet, Brian?
Have a balls.
Have you watched Ice Cream Truck yet?
Have a balls.
I think that means no. That's British for no.
Okay. Here we say no in America.
Still holds a pretty good rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
I keep going to watch it, and then I realise that stabbing oneself in the eyes with a pen isn't really that fun. So.
Oh man.
I think I pretty much said all I could say about Ice Cream Truck.
Yeah. No,
but you know what? I stand by it. I'm not backing off. I still enjoyed it.
That's the one movie you don't change your mind on, which is
that's
so
the one
bizarre.
Movie, yeah. And I've watched it like twice now.
A second time.
So, but yeah.
But Strangers, yeah, you know what? Because the landscape has changed, we take these decent movies in January, February, March for granted. But it's perfectly fine for a March release. If it came out, August, September, October, I think it'd be a little weak, considering when does A Quiet Place come out? Next month, right?
Next month, yeah.
And it's supposed to be awesome. Like the reviews are out the roof.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it'll be top 5 horror of the year by the time summer rolls around. But it's March. We're 15 movies into the year or something. So okay. It's harmless.
Are
you excited about A Quiet Place, CP?
What's that? One more time?
Are you really excited about A Quiet Place, or are you kind of worried?
I'm just the only thing. If I have concern, it's about Krasinski. This is his first. Is this his first directing movie? I think he wrote and
I
directed it.
believe so.
I mean, if he's anything like what's his face, Joel Edgerton, then we're in good shape. But
Or Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
No, it looks incredible. It does. It looks really incredible. But I try my best, especially with horror. I try not to get too gaga out over it. But it does. It
Somebody
looks really
posted on, I believe it was Twitter or maybe Killer Flicks. Somebody got an early screening of it, and this was I guess kind of a negative review, but they were stating that there were a lot of like horror cliches in it, and a lot of convenient, because there's rules in this movie, as far as like keeping quiet. And so one of the complaints was some of the rules don't really they break the rules when they're not supposed to, and I don't know. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's a movie that can be picked apart, is what I'm hearing. So,
Mary, you need to see movies on your own. You shouldn't depend on other people's opinions.
Who's that?
Mary Whiteside. She said that horror or all movie reviewers save her from a bunch of movies, which,
Yeah, I would agree with that, because there's definitely some movies like Death Wish, the new Death Wish, which is not a horror movie, but let me tell you, I have not seen a single positive review for that movie, and I thought that movie kicked major ass. Yeah. I had a blast with my dad watching it, and I gave it like my highest rate. Like I recommend the shit out of it, and if I had believed all the reviews, I would have never gave it a chance. So, there's occasional movies like that.
Was, I think Rambo, the fourth Rambo, when it came out, it got pretty bad reviews, and so I thought this was going to suck, and I freaking loved it. So,
I love Rambo.
Yeah, always. And I actually posted this on Twitter. When it comes to horror movies, I think mainstream critics don't really get it, for lack of a better phrase. There are bad horror movies out there. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is sometimes I think they can be a little bit too hard on horror movies. When horror fans, sometimes they just want to go enjoy themselves. And
somebody should make a channel that's based about the viewer, not their own views. That'd be a really neat YouTube video.
And they should release teasers.
Hashtag
I will say this too: when you watch reviews, especially with a lot of the more mainstream or kind of the more traditional critics, not necessarily the niche ones, if they spend more time talking about issues that have nothing to do with the movie than the movie itself, then you could probably take their review with a grain of salt. If they're talking about Death Wish and they're talking more about gun violence in today's world than the movie, or if they're talking about, The Strangers Pray at Night, and they're talking more about horror tropes than they are about the plot or characters, then you could tell that people kind of go into a review with a stigma that they want to get across, not necessarily review the movie on its own merit.
Well,
and reviews as well, that critics have destroyed some people's careers. You look at, this is going way back now, but Night of the Hunter is now considered a classic. But the reviews for that when it came out was so savage that it destroyed the director's career.
John Carpenter's The Thing got destroyed.
Thank you very much, Cody.
Citizen Kane, Shawshank. Yeah.
All these films are films that
Don't say Shawshank, you might get somebody mad.
John Carpenter stated that he went into a massively deep depression after The Thing, because he said the critics weren't even. They were they were downright disrespectful. Like, they attacked him. And he thought his career was pretty much dead, so he immediately jumped at whatever job he could take next to stay
Christine.
Christine, because he thought his career was dead by the way they attacked. And it's funny that now, if you ask somebody to say that what's the top 5 greatest horror movies of all time, most people are going to put The Thing in that list. So don't always depend on critics. I'd say it's a good barometer sometimes, but when it comes to horror, I really don't trust critics unless it's like 2% or something like that.
Brian, we were talking about this a couple of nights ago. For the flip side of trusting critics is the studios trusting these test audiences.
Test screenings. What a load of bollocks.
I want to know who these people are, because they have a lot of decision making power, and I want to know who the fuck is making people like Paramount change their mind about.
Fatal Attraction is what started that whole. Or one of the big ones that kicked the floodgates open for test screenings was Fatal Attraction, and then they started doing it constantly after.
Yeah, Annihilation should be worldwide in theaters. It should be on 3,000 screens, and it's not fantastic. Because of test audiences. And
that third act blew my freaking mind.
oh yeah,
Insane.
I really want to see it. I still haven't got a chance to. I hope
Cody,
I get to catch it.
Uncle
before it comes out.
Dust.
Watch. You have to watch Annihilation. Is it on
I'm gonna do my
Netflix
best
in
to get to
America?
it. No, it's not. I checked because as soon as I saw people posting about it, I was like, "Oh shit!" and I went to go check, and it wasn't there. And another movie that it's one of the examples that actually got saved by test screenings, though, is the original Final Destination.
Really?
If you've watched the original theatrical ending, which should be on the Blu-ray, basically what happens is when it gets to the scene, whenever she's in the car and Alex has to pull the electrical wire off, he dies. He grabs it and he dies. And then the movie goes through this weird crescendo where she has his baby and they go to the funeral and her and Kemper is his name Kemper? I don't know. Her and the douchebag go to the graveyard and they're having this nice little chat and the movie ends and test screenings fucking hated it. They're like, dude, you just totally airbagged the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And actually Robert Shea came up with the entire concept of the ending that we know for Final Destination. He said they did reshoots. He came up with the whole idea. He said, dude, you got to end this thing big. You got to take whatever the momentum the movie had and skyrocket it, and they put it back in test screenings and people lost their minds.
I lost my mind when I first saw Final Destination.
Mm-hmm.
That last scene, that's how you end a freaking movie. Like I was on cloud 9 when it ended.
It's funny to watch him tell the story too, because he said as soon as that sign comes down and whoosh, and the movie ends, and everybody in the theater's like, "Ah!"
Yeah,
he said he turns to
he
turns to the director and he went, "Told you."
So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, it depends on like if De Palma's making a movie, I don't want 16-year-olds deciding what that last act is going to be. You know.
Slasher in Suits, Annihilation is not so bad. It's on torrent sites. It's on torrent sites because it's on Netflix around the world. Yeah. That's why it's on torrent sites. It's not so bad. Don't judge it on its availability.
Yeah.
Halloween 6 is another good example. They
of course, it
changed the whole third act because of test screenings.
And we're back.
And
there's no more drink left. That's how much I've been drinking.
Yeah.
Just
that was a good topic, though.
Yeah. Taking it back to Dress to Kill, I was quite surprised to see the main actor from Christine, actually, in that film. Yeah. Just wanna,
me too. I didn't expect that.
I didn't feel like we really talked about Dress to Kill all that much, to be honest. We kind of skimmed over it.
Go ahead.
Well, two of us haven't seen it.
Right. That's probably why we skimmed over it then.
Well, Halloween 6 has a very similar scene to Dress to Kill.
No, Michael Myers is actually Dressed to Kill while we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Myers gets in lingerie and jumps on the desk.
Sorry, Brian. Go ahead. Talk about Dress to Kill.
No, well, I just remembered two people have seen it, so there's not really much I can say. So, anyway, airbag that one. Just move on.
Yeah, I guess since
we all have one.
Seen it, but we could definitely talk about it in the next stream when Cody and CP finally do see it, because I would highly recommend it. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. So, yeah, I mean, if you like De Palma, then it's essential viewing. So, yeah. And I will say that's one good thing about De Palma, too, is he covers a lot of genres. Like erotic thrillers, dramas, straight-up horror movies like Carrie.
Gangster flicks.
Yeah, gangster flicks. I mean, he's just such a great director. So.
I just want to pull a Lee and say that Brian De Palma is really awesome. I just want to say that.
He's awesome. He kicks
He's really
ass.
Cool.
At Brian De Palma.
Yep. And I say kind of a lot in my reviews, too. He's kind of awesome. Hey, do you know there's a new Devil's Reject movie, a sequel coming out?
Oh, Hell 3 or some shit, right?
3 from Hell.
Yeah.
I know Brian's looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it, if I'm being honest. I like Devil's Rejects. I like House of a Thousand Corpses. I like those characters. You know what? One thing I can say about Devil's Rejects is these three characters do some really horrible, horrible things. And for some reason, I was just talking with one of my coworkers, Tanya Nicole, about this today. And by the end of the movie, you're like rooting for them. Like, you're sad, that they're getting killed at the end. Or at least I was kind of sad. I like the character. Rob Zombie's not the best with characters, but I did like the characters he created for House of Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Cody, you're a fan.
Motherfucking words, motherfucker.
Yeah. Right?
What was you saying, Lee?
Cody, aren't you a fan of Devil's Rejects? I know you're not the biggest Rob Zombie fan, but
I need to rewatch it. I bought the 2-pack Blu-ray of House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. I haven't seen them since the movies came out. I hated them when they first came out. Halloween 2 is literally the only Rob Zombie movie that I like. And Halloween, like the last act of his remake of Halloween. But am I looking forward to it? To me, honestly, it seems like he got his ass kicked so bad by 31 that he's going back to what the one success that he's kind of had critically.
I would say give him another chance.
Critical success.
Devil's Rejects. Hey, Devil's Rejects got thumbs up from Roger Ebert and stuff like that. So
what was he smoking that day?
I don't know, but
it's a cult hit. Like most people, if you say name a Rob Zombie movie you like, most people would say Devil's Rejects.
That's the one. Yeah, if you like any Rob Zombie movie, most people are going to say The Devil's Rejects. But what's weird to me, and they haven't released any plot details yet, aside from the fact that he said that the characters are going to come back, but that could mean anything. I don't understand how they're going to come back. Is it a prequel, or are you just going to negate the ending of The Devil's Rejects, or is it just going to go like full on crazy and it's going to be in hell? Like I don't really know how you continue The Devil's Rejects. And if you do continue, are you going to kind of cheapen The Devil's Rejects by doing that? Because the whole effect of those characters doing that little switcheroo thing you were talking about, Lee, where they're the bad guys, but you kind of feel like they're the protagonists by the end of it. If you bring them back and negate their fate at the end of that movie, is that going to, cheapen Devil's Rejects? I don't know. I have a lot of questions about it. I don't really. I'm not really impressed by the title. I'm curious if he actually got funding for this, or if he had to crowdfund again, because he had to crowdfund twice for 31.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Coming off of his last movie, I fucking hated 31. That was I think that was my worst or my second worst movie of that year. So I don't know. I love Rob Zombie as a musical artist. I think the dude's smart as hell. I think he has an incredible horror movie in him somewhere.
Yeah.
If he gets somebody to write and, maybe pull a few strings and take away a little bit of his creative freedom possibly, but am I excited for it? No.
That's his trouble. He needs to stop writing his own films.
Well, here's my thing with Rob Zombie, because I don't like all of his movies. I really disliked 31. I'm gonna give Lords of Salem another chance, but that one was pretty bad when I saw it. But one thing I will say is he definitely has his own signature style, and I kind of like that you have a director that, some people hate him, but there are people that love Rob Zombie just because he's so he has such a unique style. I don't think he's a great writer, but I don't want him to be just another director that is just kind of does nothing special, or maybe special is not the good word for it, but just kind of fits in with every other director. At least he doesn't do that. So I would.
What's funny is I can't stand Rob Zombie, but the first 30 minutes or so of 31 I think are his strongest. But then it fucking plateaus and goes off a cliff. That opening scene is
the opening scene is awesome. It teased the shit out of me. I saw it at a month before the movie was released, and it was like this big deal for me because I was just starting my YouTube channel, and I was like, holy shit! Like I didn't want to see the movie at all because I don't like Rob Zombie's movies, but I was like, damn, I can see this movie a month early and my fucking views are gonna skyrocket.
Yeah.
But I went and saw it, and that opening scene, I was like, holy shit, this might actually be good.
Yep.
Just like CP said, from there on it went,
Yep.
Well, at face value, his characters are kind of like, if you watch a Rob Zombie trailer, not knowing that, what you already know.
Southern Fried.
It is kind of interesting. Like when I saw the trailer for 31, I was like, okay, I might actually like this. And then I saw it and I was like, nope, it sucked. So I don't know. He there's something there, but he just hasn't capital. I don't know. There's something
cinematic blue ball.
Yeah. There's definitely
everything's got to have his wife in it. Everything has to have extremely volatile dialogue. Everything has to be white trash 1970s Alice Cooper era characters, even if it's set in 2018.
Bit of an orange burnt tint to everything you're looking at. Just
everything's nasty. He's so one note.
Yeah.
Once you get, if you look at Halloween, his version of Halloween, the first one, which is for me is the only watchable film of his.
I agree with you there.
Once you get past the Rob Zombie section, i.e. the stuff Cody was just talking about, all the white trash gunk at the beginning, and you get to the actual John Carpenter Halloween movie remake bit, it actually turns into a good film.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To a watchable film. And he shows himself to be a capable director in that last half.
When he has a template that's already set.
Yeah. Oh,
that
cool.
last half
Myers
is really
Mom's
enjoyable.
zombie.
But I do, once he gets to Lori and she starts screaming, "Somebody help me," about 95 times, then I kind of check out. You know.
For me personally, I thought her reaction was completely natural for someone.
And it probably is. Like that's probably how somebody would react if they were in that situation. But as far as like entertainment value, after a while, it's just like, okay, now I have a headache. She's still screaming. Somebody's, give me something. Give me something else, Whereas Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, we had a full-on character study of her. That's what I loved about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
That's a good point, Brett. How are we talking about another version of fucking Halloween?
Did we do it again? Hey,
how did this happen?
Hey, I'm blaming
He does play on the kill list.
And the kill list, I'll just put Halloween, Halloween 3, Halloween, Halloween, and Halloween.
I can connect the dots here.
Do you guys want to jump over to Netflix horror? There's two movies I wanted to discuss on that one. Veronica. Have you guys seen that yet?
No. Native.
Okay, well, there is something I can talk about, even though you guys haven't seen it. And I would recommend checking it out. There's some interesting elements there. It is based on a true story, but isn't every horror movie based on a true story? Like 5%. They can say that. But this is actually based on a true story. I did some research. But the one thing I wanted to discuss about this movie was when producers use or marketing campaigns, they say something like, this is the scariest movie to come along in 5 years. People were turning it off in the middle. Netflix actually claimed that people were turning off in the middle because they were so scared. I watched this movie. This was probably one of the least scary horror movies I've seen in 5 years.
That's what overhyped Raw for me. Was all of that bullshit talk leading up to it about people vomiting and passing out and have to get EMT'd out of the fucking theater and all that kind of stuff.
And Raw,
for
me, Raw was a good movie, but
I agree.
Scare factor was gone. Like, it wasn't scary, but it was a decent movie. Whereas this one is kind of cliche. I mean, we've seen this movie like 5 other times, with the Ouija board and the demonic possession. It's been done, and it's been done better so many times. So it's kind of forgettable. If you want to pass 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon, I'd say watch it. It's not like Pete. What's up, Pete? It's not a bad movie, but it's it's definitely nothing great. So, yeah.
Did we just ho-hum Raw? I'm just double checking that.
I loved Raw. I stated was Raw wasn't scary, but it was still a great movie. I loved Raw. Whereas this one's not like.
No, it's more of a cringy. Oh, that's messed up. What's happening?
Yeah.
Can I just say as well that Annihilation? I know it's predominantly a science fiction film.
Ooh,
but there's some really great moments of horror in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
really
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
That bear scene is just whoa.
And they went with the opposite approach on that because that wasn't marketed as a horror movie or even scary at all. So it's nice when you go into a movie like that and you're like, oh, that was a nice surprise. That actually scared me.
Because if you present it as a horror movie, horror fans will be like, that what? All right, so there was 2 cool scares in it, but blah blah blah.
There's some body horror stuff in there.
Yeah.
Really, like gives David Cronenberg.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
There's some like what the fuck moments in that movie too. So I don't want to spoil it for Cody, but wow.
See, Lindsay, I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not.
She woke up. That's a true story.
Raw is as scary as It Follows.
No.
I don't think Raw is scary. Apparently she doesn't like Raw then either because
Lindsay, you dropped your mic. Pick it up.
Yeah. Raw
Pick it up so Lee can sing into it.
Yeah.
It's an incredible. Into the mic.
You know what? She represents a group of people that don't like It Follows. Because there are a group of people that they don't like It Follows, or some even hate It Follows. And I think that's part of the appeal for me of It Follows, is that it's kind of polarizing to some. Some people love it, some people hate it. People that love it tend to like freaking sing its praises, like me. Brian Lomax won't even watch it again because it scared the shit out of of him. So.
Here, I'm designing your next T-shirt for you.
Thank you.
Just a seesaw, and have it be one day and then the next, and then like.
Hey, when have I seesawed on It Follows?
I don't know, but you seesaw on everything. It's just, it's a theme. Yeah, merchandising. Drumdums the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Kids love it.
I love you, CP.
I love you more.
I know. There was another Netflix movie I wanted to talk about, The Ritual. Have you guys seen it?
Nope.
Get the fuck out of here. You kidding me? You haven't seen The Ritual?
The Ritual's fantastic.
Yeah, there you go.
I gave it like I think a 3.5 when I reviewed it, because it came out over here a lot sooner.
Yeah.
But it's one that I've kind of thought about a lot since, and I kind of regret my grade, to be honest, that I gave it. But the creature design in that is
just asleep.
Speaking of seesaw,
I didn't even buy that movie yet. That's how I am on that one.
The Ritual was my #1 movie for 2 minutes until I saw Annihilation. Like it was good. It was really good. And because it did kind of what Annihilation did, it gave you a third act that you didn't expect, and it had some balls, and you were like, holy crap, what am I looking at? That's kind of freaky. You know, all these different emotions were going on. So I loved The Ritual. I liked what it did in that third act. I don't know if Cody, have you seen The Ritual?
I have not.
Okay, god damn it, Cody.
I think it's got one of the best creature designs I've seen in a long time, because like it's really scary kind of creature design, but it's also
interesting too.
It's really majestic as well. It's something quite beautiful about it. But I liked that side of things. But for me, the thing where it fell down just a little bit is that I don't think it makes the rules of what's going on particularly clear. They're a bit hazy about what, because what this thing is doing. Like I can't really go into it without spoiling it for people. Yeah. But what this thing is doing, like they present reasons for why it's doing what it's doing, but then what the main character is able to do towards the end kind of contradicts that, or calls it into question. So it becomes a little bit hazy for me.
I think Mary Whiteside kind of summed it up with, it was a nice surprise, and that's what it is. Like when you do get to that third act and what it is, you are just completely interested. Like, I want to know more. Wow, this is interesting. Okay, let's go. Give me something. You know, it wasn't, you know, because we've seen a lot of these movies where they don't show, like The Village. That's a good example. Where in the end you're like, oh man, you know. So at least this was okay. We got something to give you. You know, that's what I liked about The Ritual, without spoiling it.
Levi looks proper dead, mate. Seriously.
I know. They said that on the last stream too. You okay, buddy? Yeah. That's just the way he is.
Has anybody heard anything about Stillwater?
I don't know what Stillwater is.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
All right, never mind. It's something that my Uncle Don put in my email box.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, it's a thriller. They're touring. They're touring in Topeka, Kansas.
Stillwater. I like my thrillers. I definitely like my thrillers.
Yeah, Stillwater is also the name of the band in Almost Famous.
Levi's licking my arm now, so he is alive, people.
Cue airbag.
Yeah, cue airbag. I got to get a little short video of the van hitting the wall, and I'll just pop it up every time we have an airbag.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so Stillwater, apparently it's a thriller. Nobody's heard anything about it. Yeah. Another if you guys are into scouring the interwebs for streaming without any sort of movie theater release, a British film called Dogged. It's spelled Dogged.
Oh wow!
It's coming out this week. It's like it feels a bit like Wicker Man. It's kind of folk horror, I guess is what you would call it.
Okay.
If you're into it, anybody in the chat?
Does it have woods and trees in it and shit like that?
No, it's. I don't know how to compare it without giving anything away.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That the director sent me that. So I'm ice cream trucking here for.
Is there breakdancing in it?
Breakdancing.
Airbag, sorry. That's my airbag for the stream.
Hey, no, it's called Dogged. I think it comes out this week. It's neat. Listen, it's not in any theaters. It was made on a shoestring budget and looks really good. That's where I get frustrated when people make good looking movies for nothing.
Yeah,
the horror film that I'm probably most looking forward to at the moment is a film called Unsane.
Oh yeah.
Steven Soderbergh horror film. So
shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
What? Another one shot on an iPhone, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but when it's directed by Steven Soderbergh,
then you want.
Tangerine wasn't bad.
I didn't see Tangerine.
I guess that's enough.
I think
I'm
it's
seeing a lot of chatter about The Babysitter in the chat. So. And that is a really good. We've talked about The Babysitter quite a bit in the past, but I mean, it's definitely one of the better Netflix horror movies out there. Really, really good.
Yeah,
so,
awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Samara Weaving. That's definitely a character that I want to see more of. What she did in that movie. So, yeah.
Did you guys know that there was a post-credit scene in that movie?
Babysitter?
I missed it. What was it?
A cop goes inside the house where the car is crashed. Well, actually, okay. I'm not going to spoil the ending of the movie, but I'll just say that there is a return of a character.
Oh, okay.
That leads to what you were talking about, Lee. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we've ran the course. I think we've pretty much discussed everything we wanted to discuss. It was nice to see Pete in the chat. Good old Pete. We remember back in the day, guys. Me and CP and Brian and Pete. We used to do like non-horror movies a lot. But I'd love to get Pete back in here sometime with all of us, and that would be fun.
We'll get Brian's show here on Lee's channel.
Yeah. Well, screw Brian. We'll just do it on my channel. Levi, wake up. Yeah. Brian, what do you got coming next?
I'm just about to start an Alfred Hitchcock. So,
ooh, that could be fun.
Yeah, so I've got
strenuous.
Got a box set of 14 Alfred Hitchcock movies that's been sat there for quite a while, and I thought, you know what, let's just do the whole lot. So yeah, I'm gonna review all 14 of those, and if that doesn't kill me by the end of it, I may carry on going and hunt out other films that he's done, because I know he's done a lot more than 14 films. And today I was given a box set, a Blu-ray box set of the Universal Horror Monsters movies.
What?
Yeah, so
somebody's a good friend.
I'm going to review them. So yeah, but they're probably a bit more distant than Hitchcock. Hitchcock's already, a lot of it's already filmed and edited, so they'll be starting at some point this week.
I dropped my my earphones. Okay. CP, what do you got coming next?
Well, I'm back in the groove of being a mainstream dickbag, because apparently when I do reviews on my channel, 600 people come and watch it. So, Tomb Raider on Thursday. Awesome. Yay! No more trailers.
Cody, what about you?
I'm debating on whether or not I'll see Tomb Raider. You might see a review for that. You might not. I'm going to be doing Friday the 13th, Jason Lives, this weekend. I was trying to do it last weekend to kind of keep with my timeline, but I've been so freaking exhausted from work, I have had no desire to record lately. So that's going to be out this weekend. Dress to Kill I'll have out this weekend too, because that's going to be here tomorrow. Nice. The remake for Maniac, I just reviewed the original 1981. The remake for Maniac will be out at some point. what else did I kind of have in the books? That's probably all to kind of expect in the near future. Is the rest of the Friday the 13th reviews and those two.
I'm probably gonna do Demons next. Oh, go ahead.
I'll also be doing a review for Judas Priest's new album, Firepower.
Oh,
so
I've heard good
doing a
things
little.
about that.
Yes, it's kick ass. So because it's so kick ass, I have to review it. So at some point, maybe this weekend. I don't know. I'm overbooking myself for this weekend already, but expect that at some point.
I received this. This is 80s film fan sent me The Bird with the crystal plumage, Dario Argento movie. So
Image.
That's one that I definitely want to review. Demons by Dario Argento is one that I'm probably going to do next.
Plumage.
Thank you very much. I probably won't review Tomb Raider just because there'll be a lot of reviews for Tomb Raider. So, but really the thing I wanted to say was, Derek, you are an inspiration to all of us. You are such a good friend. I'm so glad that we met some 2 years ago maybe or something like that. But you mean the world to me. You mean the world to everybody in this chat. I want to thank everybody for coming out and just chatting with Derek. And thank you for all these great topic ideas too, Derek. I had such a fun stream this time talking about some of your top 5, which was really fun. Final Girls are always fun to talk about. But Derek, man, I can't say enough, man. I really, like, you bring a tear to my eye. Like, I've literally, I've went through some emotions this week, as I'm sure you have too. And I want to say before we leave, I want to thank Killer Flicks. I want to thank Deborah Voorhees and her group. And I want to thank Club Voorhees for, it seems like everybody just came together this week for Derek. And I can't thank you guys enough. I really appreciate it. The entire horror community. I'm getting sad right now just thinking about it. But you guys were just amazing. And Derek, we love you immensely, brother.
Fight the good fight, brother.
Yeah,
keep
man.
Fighting that good fight for us. We believe in you. And I can't thank you enough. Thank you everybody for coming though. And I guess we're gonna go ahead and end this thing. But Derek, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next stream, brother. Keep fighting the good fight, like everybody's saying. Do not give up on us. We love you. So, anyway, guys, I hope you guys all have a great night, and thank you so much for watching. And peace out. Love you, Derek.